Hello, family. Welcome to Live Your Legacy. I apologize if you can hear my AC. It's hot, so deal with it. So I wanted to title this podcast "Calming the Hectic" because I would say the past year. I would say the past year things have been hectic. They've been quite chaotic. The energy has been really heavy. And it didn't occur to me until I was listening to a podcast yesterday. What's today? Friday. Well, it was either Wednesday or yes, I don't know. It was one of them days. I was listening to a podcast. My favorite astrologer, Molly McCord, and she brought it to my attention that that the lunar cycle has been off. It's been backwards. And I was like, yeah, it has. Ever since, and I said it before she even said it, I was like, yes, that damn Cancer eclipse. The two, I think we had two last year, back in June. We had one, they were literally back to back. And that threw us off. It usually how it happens is you'll have a new moon and then you'll have a new moon in a sign, and then you'll have a full moon in the opposite sign. So like if you have a new moon in Pisces, you'll have a full moon in Virgo. I want to say it's Virgo or Leo. I think it's Virgo though. Yeah, September. So Virgo. So it's like the new moons are the new beginnings, and the full moons are supposed to highlight like the things that you've learned. But it's been backwards, and what that did was it when you had the full moon first, it brought up a whole bunch of shit. Like it just created a mess, and then once the new moon came, it was like clean up time. And that really, that I don't know about you guys, but I'm very moon sensitive, and for the past year, like I could not figure out why shit was so hard. Like it was very difficult, and now it makes sense. And I understand why it had to happen. In the sense of healing, you kind of want things to come up. I would prefer it all come up at, well, obviously not all of it come up at one time, but like it was like back to back to back to back to back. That way, now that I think it's gonna be in the end of July, it's gonna reset and go back to the way that it was. So we did a lot of intense healing this year, whether you're aware of it or not. It did happen. And if you go back to last year in June and where you were at and what you were doing and what you were learning, think about that back to now, and just look at the stuff that came up, the things that you had to deal with and overcome, and the old traumas. What's it called? This past Cancer season, which actually we're still in for the remainder of the week until the 22nd, is when the sun goes into Leo. And then we're gonna have two, I believe they're full moons. I want to say full moons in Aquarius, and that second one is when the reset happens. So things are gonna calm down a lot. I mean, they're already calming down. I know you feel it. It was at its peak in intensity that week that Mars was in Leo and Venus came in like a couple days later. But that was the peak of the energy. and now it's calmed down tremendously since then. But Mars came through vicious, yo. Mars came through vicious, but we had, as hard as it was, I will say we had some very effective energy as far as healing is concerned. We dealt with emotional healing, of course. That is the most uncomfortable for me, and it seems like we did a whole lot of that this year. And when I say this year, I'm talking about from July to July. We did a whole lot of emotional healing, a lot of childhood traumas came up. A whole lot of childhood traumas came up. We did a lot of healing in the sense of action, what you're doing with your time, and we did a lot of trigger work, or I guess they call it shadow work. I prefer it to be trigger work because that's when you're the most triggered, and that's what a lot of that Mars energy did too, was show you how you respond or react to intense stimulation, whatever aspect of your life that affected. But it did bring that up heavily, intensely. But we made it through. I'm not saying that we're done. We're not done. The reset has not happened yet. We got a couple more weeks until that last Aquarius full. I want to say it's a full moon and not a new moon, but it could be a full moon and then a new moon. I don't know. But I know that last moon in Aquarius is when the reset happens. And it's going to be in Leo season, which is fantastic. And the thing about the way that the lunar cycle actually is supposed to be is it's supposed to be a balancing. And it's funny because I was thinking about it, and when this started, this whole backwards motion, we were in Cancer season, which is obviously water, and we're ending it in Leo season, which is fire. So it's like this cosmic universal rebalancing that we just went through. And it's kind of dope when you think about it as you're in it. Hell no. But because I mean, for me, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I knew the energy was super heavy, and I had no idea when it was going to let up. Like, we had some moments in between when the energy wasn't too bad. But overall, the energy has been extra intense, and we've been doing a whole lot of work. But I thought it was kind of interesting how it started in water and it ends in fire. And the way the lunar cycle is supposed to be is it starts in one sign and ends in the opposite sign. So it's supposed to, every lunar cycle is supposed to be a rebalancing, but then it just got knocked out of cycle. Excuse me, I have bronchitis right now, so bear with me. But what we just went through was wild. It was intense, and I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. I feel like it was okay. So like in Aries season was supposed to be April. The end of April, early May was supposed to be, that's technically the beginning of the astrological year. And that was when we leveled up. That's when we that leveling up that was supposed to, it started, okay, so if you remember my videos back in like January, I was talking about how we graduated and we hit a new level, and it was like we had to start over in a way. It's like starting from the bottom, but a new tier, but the bottom of it. So April, the end of April came, and that was when we hit a new level. We had hit the top of that level. Now we were on a new tier. And then we had to really kind of like figure out how to move in that new level, because it required a completely new version of ourselves, which every new level does, but this was a little bit different. At least for me. At every other level, I kind of had an idea of what was required of me, and if I didn't, I learned it quick. This particular level, however, it was like almost like it wasn't a pause, but it was definitely a slowdown. And it was a slowdown because at that point, every aspect of your life required a new version of yourself. And for me, I had no idea what that meant. So I understand why things slowed down, because had it been rapid movement, I would have been overwhelmed and like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I needed that pause. I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, I needed that pause to really see where I was at, where I wanted to go, and how to get there. Like, it was completely new territory for me. Completely new territory. Granted, the foundation was the same. I mean, it's been the same. But how I moved was completely different. If any of this is making sense, I hope it is. And you can think about this in your own life. Apply what I'm saying into your own life and see what I'm talking about. Because it's not just me. It's this, everybody feels this, and everybody's affected by it in roughly the same way. But like I said, it's maybe different aspects for you of your life, because I don't know where certain things are at as far as house placements on your birth chart. And I've said this many of times. I really advise you to look at your natal chart, your birth chart, see where shit was at. Because even though it may not be, the transits may not be right now where they were at when you were born, but it still affects it, especially those personal planets, especially. So look at your natal chart and see where stuff was at and what house, and you'll see where that energy affected you, at least the most. But even if there's no placement of a particular transit on your birth chart that we're experiencing right now, it still affects you, just not as extreme as it would a person who has certain placements in their chart that's happening right now, if that makes sense. But yeah, things are calming down now, and we are a much better version of ourselves now than we've ever been in our entire life. And Leo season's coming. Yo, if you don't know about Leo season, let me tell you, okay? Leo season, obviously it's fire, so there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of passion, it's not going to be so much emotional as it's been, Cancer season. We've been in our emotional body pretty much this whole time, and healing things in that nature, how certain energy that we receive, what we do with it. Now it's time to use everything that we just learned and put it into motion. And it's going to be amazing, I'm telling you, because we got Aquarius energy coming in too. We got all kinds of stuff happening. I'm not going through all the transits. That's not what this video is about. I'm just here to tell you that things are finally calming down, and what you just went through, you're not alone. We all went through it, and we came out of it a much better version of ourselves. So keep moving, keep doing your thing. It's only going to get better. It's not going to be as intense. It won't be so much emotion. I mean, emotion's always there. We're emotional beings. We have an emotional body. But it won't be so focused on emotions, how you feel. That balancing is finally, we're there now almost. So just get through this residual energy that we're in from Cancer. But I'm already feeling Leo energy. I've been feeling Leo energy since the beginning of July, end of June. But yeah, shit's finna get popping, y'all. All right, love you all. Peace.